there's two categories where we came from, specifically myself and Danny. You know, mine was action sports like that, right? Like the stuff you saw in Billabong. So anything that was happening in action sports, specifically the tech that they were using in there, the ultra slow motion phantom cameras, that stuff was major influential on me specifically. And then on Danny, he came from run and gun documentary filmmaking overseas. So the combination of documentary and action sports combined. So anytime we had something in that realm, we would go all out to make it happen. Specifically with that one, spend the entire budget for the right camera, right? That was the biggest thing that made that piece. When we would have a documentary film storytelling piece, we would want the right locations. We would want to travel. We would want to go to these specific spots. And that led to us getting someone like the Navy SEAL Foundation, who then we would tell stories. And then we brought that action sports filmmaking aspect to it, to the tactical realm. And that was something that hadn't happened in that world at that point. You know, the Navy SEAL Foundation was very unique in the fact that they were a brand inside of the tactical space, and the tactical space was primarily funded by government, which is very slow to adapt, slow to have style. And we were able to apply some style to that. And from there, that really is what sparked a lot for us.
Yeah. Well, so, you know, you guys start as sort of, upstart kind of guerrilla doing action sports stuff, kind of whatever kind of client work that you felt like you could hustle up in the early days. Suddenly the client list gets longer, your style starts evolving, and you start working with the Navy SEAL Foundation, right? And I feel like, you know, kind of going back to the archives of some of that videos, that's where I noticed another sort of pivot. And again, this is sort of an outsider's perspective, but I want you guys to speak to that a little, because it seems like around that time, instead of you guys, being the primary force that's like influencing clients creatively, it seems like at that point, really the clients started influencing you guys in terms of some of the values that you started incorporating corporately, you know, like not just like a SEAL-like approach to production, but excellence, integrity, you know, the things that you guys started demonstrating as an institution kind of mirrored that of some of these clients in the military space that you guys started working with. Tell me a little bit about that. Was it working with them and kind of witnessing that firsthand that kind of reiterated the importance of those type of incorporating those corporate values?
Yeah, I think that if you want to walk with lions, you better be a lion.
Yeah.
And I think that when you're working with people that hold themselves to a higher standard and that are the best in the world, you're inspired to be the best in the world. It's just, it's one of those natural progressions. And I think that we realized quickly that the men and women we were working with, whether it was with Navy SEAL Foundation or whether it was with Under Armour or any other world-class entity, operated at a high level. And how often in life do you get to learn from the best in the world?
And they're expecting you to operate at a high level too.
And it goes back to our learning style, right? Like none of us are formally educated. When we say film school, I still don't even really, you don't have to try. But anyway, the hands-on learning that you can get from real deal hard chargers, real deal best in the world at what they do, and you couldn't ask for more. So for us, it became something that inspired us and then became a staple for us.
Yeah. And, recently, I know, Jeremy, you went through an exercise where you actually articulated some of these values, because they've been really evolving since probably around that time.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't just, like I said, maybe early on it was, like you were saying, if you want to hang with these guys, you got to carry yourself a certain way or you're not going to, they probably won't get the respect. I mean, if you look at some of the videos, these guys, these are bad dudes.
Well, here's the thing. They have way more faith in you than you have in you. So I think like what happened is,
I've got some stories about that.
We did one where like, they'll be like, hey, here's the deal. I'm going to climb over that, jump on this, jump into that pool. You just climb that way with that camera and you're good. And you're like, I'm going to do what? Noah got strapped in skydiving with a belt.
Yeah, we were filming an event down at the oceanfront, and they were it was this thing where they would strap guys like amputees, veterans that had unfortunately like lost some limbs and stuff like that. They would throw them out of airplanes with another guy strapped to them that they could parachute down and land on the beach. I forget the name of what's the name
Jumping
of the festival?
for a Purpose.
Jumping for a Purpose. And I was capturing the event, so I went out to the airstrip, got on the plane, and when I got there, the guy was like, "Do you want to jump out?" And I was like, "Of course I want to. Like, that sounds awesome. Yeah."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Okay, cool." And I was like, "Well, I have all this stuff with me." He was like, "Okay, just put it on the front of you, and I'll just like figure out a way to strap you in." I was like, "Okay."
Oh, we'll figure it out up in the air. Don't worry.
And he
about it.
grabbed a rope and like just kind of like tucked it through all the loops that connect me to him, and just tied a quick knot and like gave me a good like tug, and to make sure I wasn't like completely loose. We got on the airplane, and then mid-air he was like, "So when I pull the parachute, I'm gonna have to loosen the knot I pulled earlier, that way I can operate the parachute." And I was like, "Okay."
And he's like, "Hey, if we fall in the ocean, you swim, I'll be
yeah.
fine."
Yeah, he was like, just try to land.
Just save yourself. Don't worry. I'm a Navy
Throw
SEAL.
your camera
I'll be
down
just
first,
fine.
break the surface tension, and then just swim. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. It's like, okay, sure. I wasn't worried about that anyways, but I'm
Yeah.
going for it.
Yeah.
And midair, he loosened the thing, and I felt like the half a second that I free falled until the rope caught me, I thought I was going to be swimming.
Yeah.
And just on that note, this is just a funny. We've lost 3 insurance companies because they'll see a behind the scenes thing and they'll drop us.
Yeah.
So I mean, we could be paying 6 figures to these guys a year,
Yeah.
and they
Without
actually call
incident.
it. Well,
Yeah.
they call and fire us.
Yeah.
That's happened 3 times with major brands.